it do baby we think out of it as a can want some as a can want some. The main kind I Supreme Court for no almost opinion into more about. In any case, almost let's say it will be somewhere in June of the Beba.
Okay.
It's in the year can know. They are dreaming as lawyers so not they can't. There are two basic things that, as I say, if you say, a moody and a age so at the action question every hormone. Is it the fact that Gyakye Quayson has dual citizenship, or it is the fact that he owes allegiance? When you look at the at the Constitution, you know, the Constitution has now allowed dual citizenship. But of course, under the Citizenship Act, you know, it indicated the categories of positions are who get a dual citizenship are wouldn't you mean anything?
Exactly.
So that's one in the first place, you know, the Citizenship Act, you know, would debar him from going there. But the Constitution was talking about allegiance. Now, allegiance is a completely different ball game. Allegiance
in terms of law, right?
Yes, in terms of law.
Okay. And
I'm going to just demonstrate that to you. Allegiance is acquired at birth.
Exactly.
So there's a difference between somebody being a Ghanaian national and also a Ghanaian citizen. So you can have a British national who has acquired Ghanaian citizenship, whose nationality is born out of where you were born, whose nationality is born out of your mother. International, it is not with the father because they went to me, I did the show. So when it comes to nationality, it is always where the mother gave birth to the child or where the mother comes from. And you know, who allegiance, you know, who nationality, you know, goes together with your allegiance. But of course, citizenship is a prima facie. Once you have a nationality, you know, it is presumed that you are also a citizen. What am I going to say? So, when you look closely at what went into the use of the word allegiance and not citizenship, you know, what it was meant to do, they say, when you're going to me mapa, going to me and your day and parliament. So,
yes, but Council,
so that I'll finish and then they will not lose this thought. What it means, therefore, is that an Indian, a national of India, not a Obagana, not over Ghanaian citizenship. What am I going to say?
Yes.
What you can renounce your citizenship as an Indian, but you cannot renounce your nationality. Your nationality is with you forever. You can never renounce your nationality. It is like saying that this woman who is my mother didn't give birth to me, so I'm renouncing her. You cannot. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I do.
So when you look critically at it, you know, the use of the word allegiance, which is attached to nationality, the framers of the Constitution, you know, didn't want people who are not indigenous or autochthones of Ghana to become members of parliament. So you can have a certain Indian who has come to live in Ghana, right, for all these years, and he says that he's a Ghanaian citizen. All he is a Ghanaian citizen, but he's not a Ghanaian national. Your nationality naturally goes with allegiance. Exactly. Because you are an Indian, now what that Indian nationality, you know, who allegiance is to India, whether you like it or not. So the Constitution is saying that you owe an allegiance, you can, or to another country, you know, you cannot be what? A member of parliament. So that is the idea.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we have rather turned the whole thing upside down. The Ghanaian who naturally owes allegiance to Ghana by birth, what am I going to say? We are rather using the system against him. So I can another citizenship from Canada or from Britain, and you owe allegiance. But the fact is that at law, you do not necessarily owe allegiance to a country because you are a citizen of that country. No. In certain areas, you be compelled to swear to owe allegiance to that country. In that case, then you are formally swearing to do that by way of the allegiance, But it is not in all cases there. When you become a citizen of that particular country, you become, you get to owe allegiance. The information I have, I'm yet to verify that though, but that is what I have heard, being put out. And it is that in Canada, you can be a citizen of Canada, but you may not necessarily owe allegiance to Canada.
Okay. Because meaning say this area a very complex law principle and I undertake you have. But in the letter of the Constitution, Article 94(2), or say a person shall not be qualified to be a member of Parliament if A, he owes allegiance to a country other than Ghana. And no aspect Anna watch now, before we proceed on that, because I have so many questions on that, but before you do and on the show, the first question I ask is the fact is, one, the qualification of becoming a member of Parliament. You say a process. Now may argue with somebody, say, elections is not an event, and the Electoral Commission static processes, obey registration. Obey notice of poll, any the obey exhibiting the register. Even before you drew the opening of nomination, picking of forms, filling of it, filing of the nomination, and all of that. Before Ansana, substantively, election day Abba bedrew. Now, having had the opportunity to read the full case of Gyakye Quayson from the High Court, the first question I mean is what share issue a Michael at the court now. The first plea they know and say at the time of opening of nomination on October 2018, Gyakye Quayson a form. And at the time a nomination a close year on the 9th of October not still now only citizenship to Canada. And in that effect, want to me and qualified to even go through the process. Now, after filing of the nomination, you to know I was saying not a true petition at my Electoral Commission said there be Papa no was citizenship to another country. For that reason, Electoral Commission and disqualified. The man called by the EC responded said that be a idea say one more bisano was it renounce it. He's in the process certificate and an insankai. At that particular point in time, Electoral Commission ewo kwan say obe disqualify or better still prevent him from proceeding even on the election day say yemano and contest biana. Because if that is so, then my thinking is that Electoral Commission are due diligent on this particular matter.
Yes, to that extent, right? One can say it's a Electoral Commission or no. There's something more than that. But there was an explanation given to it by the Electoral Commission. Say, "Annie, get the some information we at the brain."
Yes.
But the gentleman showed us documents that actually say, "What filing to renounce the citizenship, even as far back as 2019." What am I can answer?
Yes.
So they are taking it say once he has started that process, it means therefore say he probably was to be given the benefit of the doubt and to be allowed to do what? To stand and for him to be voted for. That is what they are saying. But by the Canadian law, your citizenship will be renounced only on the day that your certificate is issued to you.
Okay.
Gyakye Quayson's certificate of renunciation is dated in November.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, the filing of the nomination and all those type of things had been completed back in October. So, technically speaking, he will not have been qualified as per the Canadian law.
Okay.
The renunciation will take effect only upon the date of issuance of the certificate. And whatever anybody thought, whatever the Electoral Commission thought, whatever Gyakye Quayson also thought, and for which reason he was allowed to contest, it now comes out to show, at the time that Gyakye Quayson was coming to contest as a member of parliament, and just as you said, the process that being a member of parliament,
yes,
the court has said, it starts from the day now we file a nomination for other things, at the election. So, as at the time that you started, and as at the day, then
closing nomination,
nomination, what am I gonna say?
Yes,
he was having dual citizenship at the time.
Okay,
and so to that extent, the Citizenship Act, which has made it clear, the persons who hold dual nationality cannot stand as members of parliament, that particular provision catches him.
I see. It's easy disqualifying outrightly.
Necessary, it's easy for a disqualifier.
Okay.
But I'm explaining, when that issue came up before the EC, they took the position, said, if I started the renunciation in
process now, okay.
Process out that train, even in 2019. What am I gonna say?
Yes.
And at that time, the issue of COVID happening and other things, all those things will have also been spoken about. And you also observe, we appeared to have stampeded a lot of the processes within a very short time. What am I gonna say?
Yes,
to me, yes, I do way about saying 6 months or 4 months or 3 months even before the time. But in 2020, we did a thing in October, we only had November, and then December we voted. And so things were more or less stampeded a bit. Until over there, I am sure the Electoral Commission remained quite commonsensical. Say, okay, what started there? Let's just say, or just on person by a Canadian view. So let us allow him to go. What am I gonna say?
Yes, but
we now.
Council, they knew the position of the law, and the law is law. And Embranesis say at the time of closing of nomination, unya certificate na untimin contest here. The EC ought to have applied the law.
The EC ought to have applied the law.
Exactly.
The EC had to consider the petition that was sent to it. The EC also considered how Gyakye Quayson rebuffed the issue.
Okay.
Probably the one who can be blamed may be Gyakye Quayson himself. Because it is he, Gyakye Quayson, who, being a Canadian citizen, should know, until he was issued with the renunciation certificate, he still remains a Canadian.
Okay.
So he should know. So if we are going to talk about somebody saying that we should blame the EC, the EC cannot be blamed. The EC only forward commonsensical. It involved commonsensical approach to the whole thing. The partner started denouncing it, or the paper started saying it. Why should we disqualify him? But in the case of a friend of Gyakye Quayson, he should know, because Gyakye Quayson at the time was also to file a statutory declaration. And among some of the questions now, the issue of whether or not he owes allegiance to another country. That is the constitutional provision. What am I going to say?
Okay.
And so the question again is, he being a Canadian citizenship or no, Does that necessarily mean that he owe allegiance to the Canadian nation? So I was expecting his lawyer to have also brought down a document. I bet you say, if you are going to settle on Article 94(2)(a),
exactly,
it will not catch this gentleman because, as per the Canadian law, he does not owe allegiance to the nation of Canada. Then the next point will be that person should not have dual citizenship. And so what really can catch Gyakye Quayson, whichever way he goes, the issue of the Dual Citizenship Act, and which spells out clearly says you cannot be a member of parliament if you have dual citizenship. And what it means again is that at the time of filing a nomination, going through that process, because the Supreme Court has said that once you, the position of the member of parliament, starts at the time of level nomination forms. So if at the time of filing the nomination form, now by the Canadian law, your citizenship is renounced only when you are issued a certificate. It means that at the time he was going through all these processes, he remained a Canadian citizen, and so he had dual citizenship at the time.
And that goes against the Citizenship Act.
Precisely.
And not provisions of Article 94(2).
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So the question I ask again, and is why are we then conflicting the two provisions? The provisions are a war in Citizenship Act anymore, a ban dual citizenship. One listed certain positions be so dual citizenship won't me and hold it. Why are we conflicting the two with the provisions of Article 94(2)(b)?
We are conflicting the two because we are confusing allegiance
with nationality.
With nationality.
Okay.
I know we are confusing allegiance with citizenship. Allegiance naturally goes with nationality, but citizenship does not necessarily go with allegiance. And it is this distinction, which still remains hazy in the minds of a lot of us. And just as I said, I am hoping, say, with the reasoning now, Supreme Court, it may state clearly this issue about allegiance via citizenship and allegiance via nationality. Because nationality and citizenship, they are not the same. I can be a British national, but a Ghanaian citizen. If I'm a British national, I owe allegiance to Britain. So even when I come to Ghana and I renounce my British citizenship, I cannot renounce my nationality as a Brit. You cannot. And just as I said earlier on, you cannot deny your mother.
Now, Council, the big question again, who then is a citizen of Ghana? Because we will have to come back and explain on that.
Yes, a citizen of Ghana. It is also clearly stated in the Citizenship Act. It can be by naturalization, it can be by birth, right? It can be through marriage and others. It is a legal issue. So it is a law which makes you the Ghanaian, and it states all these. It doesn't by birth, your parents are Ghanaian, or one of them is a Ghanaian, or your grandparents, one of them is a Ghanaian. That makes you a Ghanaian. That makes you a citizen, right? Then if you naturalize, that can also make you a Ghanaian. You can also, through marriage, apply, and you can also be given Ghanaian citizenship. But I am saying, you cannot apply to become a Ghanaian national. Because that one comes through where you were born. You solely. That is the place of birth.
Yeah.
So you're a national. So you can have a Ghanaian who be a new parent. Both Ghanaians. Right?
Yes.
They will not they will be British citizens, but they are not British national. You understand me? And then Papa Oma British citizenship, but Omo Ghana for so they are nationals of Ghana. But Abufrana Yawunu ewo honomono because the Yawunu ewa Bruchideho a place of self-initiation. He will acquire additional status of being a British citizen and a British national because he was born on the British land.
Yes, I do.
So as much as possible, no, your citizenship once a more. Your citizenship, no, and an India yampo, it goes together with allegiance, being faithful, being truthful, loyalty, and all those things. They are natural with nationality. But when it comes to citizenship, you know, you may proclaim allegiance, and it will depend on the country now who you are a citizen to. If the laws of that particular country, you know, you could be a citizen, but not owe allegiance to that country, no. Then, of course, you cannot say that by the mere fact that you're a citizen and one nationality, it means that our allegiance to another country. No, that one should be stated clearly. But I've said earlier on, said in the case of Gyakye Quayson, you know, even if they should bring a document from Canada to indicate that if you are a Canadian citizen, if you are a Canadian citizen, if you have acquired Canadian citizenship, it does not necessarily mean that you owe allegiance. That may help his cause, Kakra, and that will be in respect of the provision in the Constitution.
That is where you owe allegiance to Canada, right?
That is where he doesn't owe allegiance to Canada.
Okay.
But when we now go to the Citizenship Act, the Citizenship Act is talking about the fact that dual citizenship, you cannot stand as a member of parliament. So at the time he filled the form, his renunciation as a Canadian citizen was not complete. So he still remained a Canadian citizen. And to that extent, he had dual nationality at the time he was going through the filing of the nomination forms. So that disqualified him.
Now, in effect, what it means is that an individual or a citizen of a country, the more reason why at any point in time, who decide this or renounce or citizenship now, ubetime aye as the law requires. But we cannot have an individual say or renounce the allegiance and the nationality.
No, you cannot renounce your nationality.
Okay.
You cannot also renounce your allegiance to your nation. Because nationality goes together with allegiance.
Okay. I see. Now, moving forward, what becomes the fate of Gyakye Quayson? Now, upon the interpretation of Article 94, the question I ask again is that there is a criminal component in the Adamu Sakande case. It gives us a good reference. Say, undertake knowingly, it means it's a criminal offense. Yes, so. Would the Attorney General go ahead to prefer criminal charges against Gyakye Quayson? And then again, say Ebane say your opinion nominations be more. This time round, obetimi so are contested in the by-elections, Ada.
My starting to the latter part. Yes, he is qualified to stand because the certificate of renunciation has been given to him as far back as November 20th.
2020. Okay.
2020, so he is qualified. If you read me Ajina in the by-election, right? So to be honest with you, at a certain time, I was wondering why we were making all this noise about the court matter. All that required me say at the time that court matter as prevalent, would I make an answer?
Yes.
If you look at but the very important thing is that you put a parliament, would I make an answer? And it's for no, almost to me. So I thought to say, practically, they could have advised him, so when you're outside, let's accept the verdict of the High Court in Peoples and then move on. So that make an answer.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't make Kasa raw as a lawyer. But the politicians know why they continue to fight certain things. Say, in the case of a question, he has come to the end of the road. Whether the Supreme Court got the law wrong or whatever is being explained or is the opinion of the Supreme Court lords, even if they are wrong, that is what the Supreme Court has said. And our constitution, until that decision of the Supreme Court is set aside, it remains the decision of the Supreme Court, and it should be what? Obeyed. So that is the end of the road for him. He can now wait for the Speaker of Parliament to declare that seat vacant, write a letter to the Electoral Commission to organize a by-election. He can go and stand. If he is as popular that he is making everybody lower, then that's the first. We were now talking about Abu Sakande issue.
Yes.
Adamu Sakande's issue is a little bit different from Papa William. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, maybe on Kapa. On which point is different, sir?
Adamu Sakande, he had not made any effort to be or renouncing his citizenship.
Okay.
At the time Abu Sakande was even sitting in Ghana Parliament, he still had the British citizenship and another citizenship, right? So his was not a matter that he misunderstood what the processes were, right? And did it. In the case of Gyakye, it easily comes up say he misunderstood the process, What am I gonna say? Now, if he swore to if he made a statutory declaration, so he didn't owe allegiance to any country as per the questionnaire itself of and as the bureau statement of the year. He did that under the mistaken impression, say, having started the processes of renunciation, he could be deemed to have renounced his citizenship until he is formally issued with what? With a document attesting to that fact.
Okay.
So that they can answer.
Yes.
But in the case of Adamu Sakande, he had not started any process to renounce his citizenship. He remained a British citizen, right? At the time he filed a nomination and came to Parliament. At the time, there was no evidence to say there had been any prior attempt at renouncing his citizenship before even attempting to do what? To come and fill the nomination forms, Gyakye Quayson also Master Sadio in 2019. It's in the main chart and it said to the extent to say my master process, If I say menye Canada need you, it will be to be that was his understanding of the law, which is erroneous though. It's no woke up a friend saying woke up quarter. Two things may be so at the Akawa seminar. The probably the act's rules, that is the act that you have undertaken.
Okay.
And then the menswear, what is the intent of what you did. So yes, on the face of it, Quayson acted in a particular way, and yet consistent with the law. But the question is this: did he have any criminal intention in undertaking that thing? No. And I would say no, because he keeps saying that at the time I may fill it out form, we know. Some are filling forms I work Canada, make us say, main person make that Canada need you. And that form is there to truthfully show that as far back as 2019, he has filled that form. So you cannot compare his case to that of Adamu Sakande. They are two different things.
I see. But counsel, in that effect, the reasonable man's position, High Court, and consider that effect, because even though what starting processes, but the end result is that certificate of renunciation ought to be issued to you to confirm, say, or renunciation application, the Canadian government, one more agiatum. As much as what say he did not have control, a administrative process, as Canadian government, undertaking, the reasonable man's position, High Court, they went ahead to apply the position of the Ghanaian law. And see, how would this take effect in terms of the criminal aspect?
In the court process, the law does not make room for ignorance. It will be for cancer. Ignorance is no excuse to the law.
Yeah.
Right? When that issue was brought before the civil court, the civil court upheld what the law clearly states.
Okay.
So your misapprehension of the law does not come in any way to mitigate anything against you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And you were not to have dual citizenship at the time you filed this process. By the country now, the country's law says that renunciation takes effect only after you have been issued with the certificate of renunciation. So, technically speaking, at the time I will fill those forms, not will renounce Canadian citizenship here. And to that extent, we disqualify you. Your participation was illegal, and your election is also void.
Okay.
So that is what was said at the civil level. Now, when it comes to the criminal element level,
yeah.
Over there, two issues are going to be determined, and that was what I told you earlier.
Okay.
The issue of the act's views, the act itself, the mensria, the intention behind it. And that's why I'm saying that in the court, his lawyers will argue strongly, say he did whatever he did under the mistaken impression that he was qualified to do so. And so when they should bring in this application form or they call Canadian office or they renounce any citizenship, any all other needed documents are accepted by his thinking. Erroneous though, he felt he was qualified. The court will look at that and say that yes, or yes, I did we, and so yes, I said, a friend saying, Odifo. But I remember just an example, and I will use the issue of manslaughter and murder.
Okay.
Now, manslaughter, murder is when you kill somebody and it is established that you intended the act that you undertook. Which means that why was you talking about uku onipano and a uku inside so those two things must be established. And once you are pronounced guilty of murder, the obvious sentence is death. Right? But when it comes to the issue of manslaughter, the difference between manslaughter and murder, in the case of manslaughter, it is established that yes, even though you killed the person, but it was either accidental or you did not have the intention to kill him. That's not making sense. At the time, if you are person all go to pool, now you pistol, now we person we are the one. Na person na to here. Now we be down to the ball. If you are able to establish, say, I didn't aim the gun at that person, but it was while I was doing something on the person, and it becomes manslaughter.
And the punishment is different for that as well.
The punishment is different. The punishment for manslaughter is either 1 day imprisonment or life imprisonment.
Okay.
The only difference between manslaughter and murder is that in the case of murder, a death. In the case of manslaughter, it is either 1 day in prison or life imprisonment. And in the case of Gyakye Quayson, his lawyer will explain to the court, say, any of any forms, of a representative declaration, he cannot be said to have deceived a public officer, because at the time he filled those forms or furnished that public officer with that information, he was under the mistaken belief to say that was his status. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Cousin, I do understand you, pa.
Yes.
Very well. And of course, my main was for the education. In fact, who have been pa, cousin. I'm grateful for your time this morning.
And the point is that if you have a good interviewer, he can also bring the best out of you. We are enjoying it. I want to hope it's encore fun. But congrats for a good work.
Thank you, counsel. Everybody have seen more. Why? And lawyer Paul Kumi, a private legal practitioner, one a constitutional lawyer, and what churches more at the man. It's a complex area. And you better boy say, na you didn't come on no na
lectures, Ben.
Oh, the lectures. Where a 1 month 4 lecture and or the 20 minutes.
I'm telling you,
actually, I was video this, that is it.